guys, thanks for tuning in to Busted to Build. Today we're working in the shop, customer vehicle. We got a 2014 Jeep Wrangler, and it's angry. Not just in style. We've also got some issues under the hood here, I suspect. And so the customer complaint is this thing keeps setting the check engine light intermittently and kind of do a little put and run rough. And anyways, but he had a couple codes he wrote down on a napkin and sent to me. And so let me put those up right here. Let me show you guys what I come up with on the code scan. And so this right here was just inspection of all the modules, all the codes that are in it here. And so camshaft position sensor intermittent, bank 1, sensor 2 and 1. Camshaft position sensor circuit, bank 1, sensor 1 and 2. And O2 sensor circuit low, both downstreams, bank 1 and bank 2, sensor 2. And so anyways, I thought to myself, that's quite an interesting correlation, because none of those are actually time and correlation codes. Those are all circuit codes or electrical, nothing in there should be mechanically wrong. And it runs just fine. It'll sit here and idle, do everything just fine. It's just like I say, intermittently it'll do its little funks at all these lights. We got to get this thing figured out and dialed in. But I just want to go through what my thought process is here and have you guys follow along. I'd like you to go ahead and in the comments right now, based off of these codes here just in the powertrain control module, what do you think the problem is? Put it in the comments. And we're not going to be looking at any of these other codes here because we weren't turned on to those by the customer at all. He does have the ABS slide on, wants me to look at that, so I will look at that after the fact, but we're going to try to get this check engine light here taken care of on the dash first. And so first things first, I'm going to ask you to ignore the codes as far as the components necessarily that they're working, and don't think about replacing parts right now. Think about the grand scheme of things here. Why are we setting a code for all of these sensors all at the same time? And so I took some notes for you guys. Anyways, what I was going over there, both downstream O2 sensors are setting codes. Bank 1 is the passenger bank, so that's going to be the passenger side of the engine. So if we're looking at the engine bay from the front, passenger side of the engine bay, that's bank 1. And it's bank 1 cam sensors, intake and exhaust is what we're setting the codes for. So if you know anything about these, there's only one cam sensor for each bank, even though that's setting an intake and exhaust code. One cam sensor sits right between the cams, measures intake and exhaust at the same time. So to set both those codes at the same time, we're probably already looking at electrical. Wiring harness. We might have the wiring harness somewhere in there integrated. Like I say, all these set at the same time. So it's not like, these have set one at a time over a while. These are pretty much all set at the same time, and it's just getting worse. So the first time when the customer sent me the napkin, there was 3 codes. When I read it, when it made its hour-and-a-half journey here, we had 6 codes. So anyways, it's getting worse progressively here, but let's fire it up and we're gonna look at some data. So like I say, nothing happening here just at an idle or at a standstill. It's only when you drive it that these things set. So let's just do a visual inspection real quick. Alright, and I don't know how good you guys can see this, but right here, again, from the front, passenger side, so this is bank 1, this is the cam sensor. I'm sure this light's going to make it impossible for you guys to see, but this guy right here, that's the cam sensor. Ignition coil, cam sensor, sits right between the 2 cams, measures intake and exhaust. So that's what we're looking at there, is kind of that area of wiring harness where that's going to come in with those downstream O2 sensors, is anywhere in there. I'm going to fire this thing up. We're going to watch live data and we're going to mess with that right there and see what happens. Just like that, duplicated it. Just had to rub that wiring harness against that firewall a little bit, set 2 camshaft codes right away. So we got camshaft position sensor, bank 1 sensor 1, camshaft position sensor, bank 1 sensor 2. Same sensor right in there. So like I say, I bet there's a few wires in here that are chafed up. Let's see if we can get a light on that thing. Okay guys, things have gotten a bit more involved. I got that wiring harness apart and it wasn't right there where I thought it would be, but I'm in the area. Let me explain what I got going on now. So right now I've got my meter plugged into my 5-volt reference for this cam sensor over here. That's the yellow wire. So I got a little yellow outfit coming out of that. And then we're measuring, again, my 5-volt reference here. Just grounded out at the alternator. Should be at the battery for good practice, but I'm gonna try get this set up so you guys can see here. Come on, meter. There we go. But if I come over here and work this wiring harness a little bit, see that glitch a little bit? Come on, meter. Right there. Oh yeah, that was good. Right there we lost it. Bring that wire down. Back it is. Pull up. Gone. Bring it back down, it's there. So, and where I'm pulling, there's like a little junction right down in there. This is probably the worst camera for this. Almost right under this dipstick tube. I think it's kind of probably right in there somewhere, so I gotta peel apart some more of this harness. We got playing with it, and it was right here at the connector the whole time, so sorry I couldn't get it on camera, but it's not a lot of room in here, but I was playing around with it down at that junction where I thought it was maybe broken and couldn't get anything to happen as far as losing that 5 volts. But right here, if I'd hold these wires and just bend that connector either way, I'd lose it. So I ended up just pulling on that wire and it just come right out. So it must have just kind of been holding in there with the weather pack was holding it together. But the wiring on this is extremely brittle, so I think this is a southern vehicle or come from out west, but everything under the hood's been you know, subject to a lot of heat, you can tell. So it's got, like I say, an oil leak, and it's just all the gaskets are dried up onto it, all the conduit on the wiring's falling off, and we got a broken wire right there where we get kind of the most heat right back at the firewall where the heat's got nowhere to go. So I'm gonna get a new pigtail on that, and then we'll see if that takes care of that, and then we'll fight a couple other codes that we had for some O2 sensors and see where we land. Part number for our new connector. Note, this does not come assembled. You actually have to push all these wires into the connector here. They already have the terminal on them, but you have to assemble it yourself. And it doesn't come with any other options for wire size or anything, so I don't know why they don't just push those in for you, but that's how they save on the labor, I suppose, and they can sell you 2 when you screw it up. So anyways, we're going to try and get this pigtail on now and see if we can fix this Jeep up. Alright guys, now we're into it. So this thing had pretty substantial oil leak too. It was literally running down the corners of both the valve covers on the outsides, right on the converters, dripping and smoking. And then the oil cooler or filter assembly here, that was also leaking, so the whole valley was filled up, and then oil running down the bell housing and everything down the back. So now we're addressing that. So I went ahead and got that pigtail on for the cam sensor, drove it around, and didn't have any issues with the check engine light coming back on. Before, we were setting codes for the downstream O2 sensors, and I haven't found any reason for what I did to have fixed that, but they haven't come back, so I haven't looked at that a whole lot. So now we're going to get this taken care of, all buttoned up, but I thought I'd stop while I was here because I got these soldered up on my new pigtail here for the cam sensor, but I haven't got any kind of protection on them. I just wanted to test it, and now that I got everything apart, this is a really good opportunity for me to wrap these up. So I just wanted to show you guys what happened here for the repair. Now you can see a little better, but we're going to get this wrapped up. And then I'm going to go ahead and degrease this engine. I'm going to power wash it, get it all cleaned up, and see if I fix the oil leak, see if we get a check engine light back. But this thing was really just a basket of whatever you want to call it. It was a mess, kind of a dumpster fire rolling in here. Like I said originally, this thing was angry. So I think before I even test drive it again, I'm going to masking tape a smiley face on there so that way people can take me serious, you know. I went and put a few miles on it, just tried to recreate that P0137 for the downstream O2 sensor on bank 2, and I couldn't get anything to come of it. Never had that code set again, never had an issue, and I can't really figure out why that would be related to what I did there, but until it sets, we're going to let it go. So this customer's 2 hours away, he drove to have me work on this, so we're just eating up time for me playing with it, and a downstream O2 sensor's not going to do anything to make it run funny or anything like that. So we're just going to let her rip, and he's going to enjoy it, and hopefully the engine light just stays off, but if it comes back, then we can diagnose something. Alright, and I just want to leave you guys with some closing thoughts on this Jeep here. So this is like 2 weeks from start to finish on this, and I had a laundry list on this Jeep. There was puking oil, check engine light, ABS light, traction control light, all this other stuff. 10 other guys had already worked on it. This has been replaced, this has been replaced, this has been replaced. So that was the spiel on it. And so anyways, but they're on a budget. So the first thing I wanted to iron out was the check engine light, because if we can't get that ironed out efficiently, then you don't know where it's going to go. That thing can really snowball as far as drivability or electrical problems. So wanted to make sure that we had the check engine light taken care of. From there, I did diagnose a bad wheel speed sensor on the driver rear, so got that replaced as well. Wasn't a big deal, nothing to document there, happens all the time on these Wranglers. And then took care of the oil leak, which was 2 valve covers and the oil cooler. Went through 3 sessions of degreasing and power washing top and bottom to get all that crap off and make it look like it's actually fixed. And we did the pigtail for the cam position sensor, just 1 pigtail, 1 sensor. Took care of all the codes, all 4 of the codes related to those 2 camshaft sensors, which is 1 sensor. So got that ironed out. Couldn't make any headway on the O2 sensor code. So anyways, we're going to let that go for now, and he's going to take it. And so we did fix up a whole bunch of things on this, but anyways, just kind of have to systematically attack what you're going to do. You can't just go in there and do $1,000 worth of oil leak repair and then tell them, you're going to be into it for $5,000 worth of electrical. It needs a new wiring harness or whatever, so you can't be that kind of guy. You got to just take it a step at a time and just be honest with the customer. So he was very appreciative of the thoroughness and that we got to the bottom of it. So like I say, he's from 2 hours away and drove up to where I'm at. He lives in Detroit. He lives in the Motor City and had to drive his Chrysler product, Stellantis product, Fiat product, whatever side of the fence you're on. Had to drive it 2 hours north to this guy in the middle of nowhere to fix this because he wouldn't trust anybody else, you know. So just kind of a word to everybody else out there, treat your customers well and they'll appreciate it. But that's all I got for this one, and catch you on the next one. Thanks.